Welcome to Building Bridges, the podcast brought to you by Larissa Thurley and Bridge Projects Group. Building Bridges podcast, which is designed to interview interesting and innovative people in the property industry, where we talk about property, life, and business from those shaping the future of property and development.
I'm Larissa Thurley, your host of Building Bridges podcast. I'm really excited today because today is our first episode of the Building Bridges podcast, which is designed to interview interesting and innovative people in the property industry where we talk about property, life, and business. Today we have a really special guest with us. Danni is a dynamic leader and she's the founder of Hunter Collectives, a strategic advisory firm established in 2022. Prior to founding Hunter Collective, Danni held leadership roles including the Victorian Executive Director at the Property Council of Australia and CEO of the Urban Development Industry of Australia in Victoria. She championed systematic change around affordable housing, gender diversity in construction, and Australia's pathway to net zero. A sought-after advisor and speaker. Welcome, Danni.
Thank you, Larissa. It's great to be here, especially in your first episode. And Building Bridges is just going to go gangbusters, I can assure you, because there is such a deep appetite for fantastically intelligent voices on issues that really matter to the building industry, property development, and more broadly in business.
What's your trick? Or what do you think has actually cannonballed you to today?
Many people in our industry are very good at identifying problems and challenges and speaking loudly about those. My nature and my character is not to come to you with problems. It's to explain why we need solutions.
So fast forward to today, Danni, with your current company, Hunter Collective, you mentioned before about solutions being a big thing. Is that a key pillar with your current company?
It absolutely does, because my mission and purpose in life is to help people and organisations and teams grow and expand their impact. And for so long, I found myself as serving the role of translator in some cases, translating the issues the industry faced with the issues that government faced and bringing the two together and not just negotiating, but helping them understand each other.
What advice would you broadly give people in the current market for Victoria? Because Victoria has had a bit of a tough slog. We've had COVID, and I think I think I read a stat. The BCA voted Victoria the worst place to do business in recently, and I was really shocked to hear that. But what's your kind of advice to just broadly to developers at the moment? Is it pivot? Is it explore everything? Is there one size fits all, or what are you seeing at the moment?
I'd say two things. Is time for growth and diversify for growth. By the time the economy is ready to grow and you're not ready, you're too late.
Yeah. I guess in your experience with that sort of, we were mentioning before, the interface between the industry and government, what are you kind of seeing over your time? How have you seen it evolve? Have you seen it mature over time as well?
I'll give you the example of working to keep the construction industry open and operating here in Victoria during the pandemic.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. It's a once in a lifetime.
It was just incredible. And I mean, it was the biggest marathon I've ever run. It was really, really intense. Just setting the scene, the industry was under threat. The industry was also relatively still very disjointed. So we didn't have a good history of positive relationships between unions and construction and development.
Yeah.
Everyone's under an immense amount of pressure. But all of a sudden, this laser focused goal of keep the industry open became that one true north. And it brought together the union movement, the representative bodies across construction, the master builders, the UDIA, the Property Council, across construction and across development, together with government, who knew that keeping the industry open was critical to economic, not even economic growth, just not economic death.
How would you, just firstly for anyone watching or listening, how would you describe relationship capital and the importance, I guess, in those key negotiations or even just in the property industry in general?
I think for me personally, relationship capital is about having deep and genuine, authentic relationships with people well before you ever need them to do something for you. So it's about, and it's not that everyone inevitably you need them to do something for you, but it's about those relationships being founded in mutual respect, enjoyment, knowledge, connection, and then understanding that, the world goes round because of relationship.
Can I ask you a question? A little bit off. We're a good matchmaker in high school with your friends then. Like you should be with that rich.
I have had one successful matchmaking experience.
I've had these two wonderful friends who didn't know each other. I introduced them and they're now married. And it's one of my claims of glory. It's just made me so, so delighted.
How do you think with the election coming up, how do you think that's going to influence the direction and the future of the industry, the property industry?
I think that the federal election will definitely be fought on three things: housing, cost of living, and energy.
Yeah.
And they're three defining factors for our economy, society, culture, and when you're sitting there in the property industry, they touch those three factors touch the property industry very acutely.
Yeah.
So with an election coming up, and also the incoming president-elect in the United States,
Yeah.
there will be greater global uncertainty for a period of time simply because of that. There will be nationally economic uncertainty because GDP isn't growing. Are the Reserve Bank going to cut rates? Probably not early in 25, definitely not before an election. Are we going to see a change in government? What are the dynamics and the fundamentals of our economy and our political environment at the moment? All of that speaks to certainty, and all of that speaks to investment confidence. And our industry is deeply impacted by confidence and sentiment. People make decisions not just on data and evidence, but also generally of what the vibe is. It's the funny thing about our industry.
Just in specifically the residential space, because they've just had the stamp duty release.
Yes, for 12 months. Yeah,
12 months. And personally, I kind of think that Victoria's doing all the things to get back on track to COVID. What do you feel about that?
I feel that Victoria's reputation is getting a bit of a thrashing right now. I feel that from a policy perspective, government is pulling all the levers that it can. Our industry screams for tax reform. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately. It might be the one thing that's needed, but the economic state of Victoria and the state of the government's budget, in my view, leaves absolutely no room to move on tax reform. So I think we take the sugar hit of a stamp duty relief for 12 months and say, thanks, let's do the most we can with this in 12 months.
Thank you. Thank you so much. There's just been so many topics delved into today. And with your experience, it's been amazing. I know I've personally loved it, and I know that our listeners will as well, and viewers. And yeah, thank you so much for jumping on. It's been a pleasure. If anyone wants to follow your podcast, just what was the name of it again?
Australia in Focus, and it will launch in the middle of January 25.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks, Danny. Thanks for joining us.